So today we're actually going to talk about food, and I really believe, and well, I don't believe, but I really hope that it is something that can contribute to somebody's life, so that it is something that's quite interesting at least, and or just also pretty valuable, because I'm a pretty strange eater, and I do believe that there's even more people that are eating like I'm just doing it, or just kind of similarly, or they want to just get into that. And I just really hope that I'm able to kind of present some ideas in terms of what you can actually eat, because if you don't eat or if you just restrict yourself of eating so many things, it kind of gets difficult, and you're probably only having a few things you can eat, and maybe even not, because there's another quote unquote rule that says like, okay, you shouldn't be eating this as well. Yeah, it's complicated, but I really hope that this is somehow contributing to somebody's life. But yeah, I'm gonna see you after the motherfucking intro. Starting it off so well with just being so quote unquote professional, and then doing it like this. But yeah, with that being said, hello, welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. And I'm really looking forward to recording this, because I'm having a presentation actually, and I really enjoyed it. Like, it's not I'm gonna click through it and it's gonna be shitty, but no, it's not. It's not gonna be. But I'm gonna scroll through it more or less, I guess. It's more or less both quite. But yeah, it's hopefully also a little bit of fun, because yeah, me not taking everything seriously, I guess, is a well-known thing, I guess. But yeah, I think we're just gonna get right into it, and there is the breakfast thing, but we're not gonna start with the breakfast, but we're gonna start with this one, the fucking food I eat, lol. It's pretty funny. And there's such a hat, such a cooking hat. We can do that. So this is a little bit of a mood board, a little bit of an overview of what I actually do not eat. The funny thing actually is that you can see the whole picture. So I'm not eating any fast food. I think this somehow makes sense. I'm also not eating any sugar, which does not include fruit sugar, but we're gonna come to that. I do not also consume any dairy products, whether it is milk, whether it is just something else. When I'm drinking quote unquote milk, then it's gonna be just some, what is it called? Like almond milk. I like it, even though like you really have to be conscious about the fact that sometimes it's sweetened, which is then fucking bullshit. And yeah, or just also not really soy, kind of. Like, I think the only is really oat milk, if this is a thing, at my place it is a thing, and also almond milk. As far as I remember, I think that's the only shit that I drink when I kind of consider doing that. But I most often have to say, like, just I don't really care, because if I just use it, then I'm probably gonna use it for my muesli or for my oats, because it's heavy and sweet and stuff. Like, which it's really tasty if you're just having oats with oat milk and stuff, because it's pretty sweet. It's nice. It's great. It's it's whatever. Then I'm also not eating too many cereals, even though I consume oats, but we're gonna come to that. And as well, I'm not eating a lot of sausage as well. I tend to actually really not gravitate towards it, and I also forget about things. Also not butter and stuff like this, so the bad fats. And I've incorporated this one just because, I don't know, it's funny. I don't know what the fuck it is. It is a man, and it's consisting only out of fruits. Yeah. But a little bit of a disclaimer here. I do not really want to say that how I'm eating is like the right way to eat. It's probably not for a lot of people. A lot of people are not going to be able to do so. A lot of people are going to just gravitate towards just eating some of the things that I'm not eating. And yeah, so I don't really fucking know, but I just know a little bit about just the whole food thing and about the whole health thing and whatnot. But as I said, I'm not a clinical whatever. I'm not an expert. I really am not. I just tend to do what is working for me and what's also feeling good for me. If I feel bad or something, I should maybe consider doing something about it. Even though sometimes I then be like, it is what it is. to really be honest. Like, I think just, for example, cutting out all the let's for example say fats is probably not going to be a good idea. Really not. By the way, I just see that I've deleted one. I'm such a fucking dumbass. I really have, because I wanted to talk a little bit about the first part of the mood board a little bit more, so I'm gonna have to go back to it once again. So when I talk about sugar, then I'm not just talking about any fruit sugar, because I talk about industrial sugar, so the sugar that is added to quite everything, which at least at my point of view, like, it is a really fucked up thing. Like, it's pretty unnecessary. Of course, food is gonna taste better, which is kind of the most important thing for the majority of the people. If it is not tasty, then just go away and fuck you, But yeah, even if there is, like, I don't know, in hummus, if there is just some fucking sugar in it, like, no, please don't. Thank you. And I don't know if there's too many people that really think about that and really care about that, but I do. I've somehow started it because I've seen like, well, you're gonna feel better if you just do not eat so many sugar. And then I thought, well, let's cut it out completely. Which, by the way, rarely is a good idea. You know, it really is not, because I mean, you need some of the stuff. But yeah, when I talk about cereals, I said it's not oats. I tend to eat oats because I think I just need some carbohydrates. You know, of course, I also eat a lot of veggies and some fruit, but yeah, I tend to just reduce the amount of carbohydrates that I'm consuming, because I have seen that if I consume too a lot of it, especially when it is about fruits, then first of all, since I'm fructose intolerant, means that I'm gonna get fucking diarrhea and shit, and pretty heavy, and I'm gonna stink like out of my fucking house, or like, it's insane, and it's not even funny. Like it really is a fucked up thing, especially, I mean, if you're working and if you're at work. And funny story, by the way, me being at work, I'm gonna summarize it a little tiny bit. Me being at work, you know, and actually having to take a shit, piss, and fart all the fucking time because of the shit that I'm eating. Might actually be also because of the oats, since they are not that easily digestible, as far as I know at least, or it just also depends on who you are. But every single day, it's been it's been an internship there last summer actually, or this summer? Nah, last summer. You know, yeah, last summer. And it's actually been a case that I constantly, because of course, like, the place that I was working at was just 2 hours away from my place, even though it's actually quite a 1 hour, but because of connections and stuff, and I'm not having a car and stuff, it's a little bit of a fucked up thing. It's a little bit of a shitty thing. By the way, the lighting today is a little bit strange, isn't it? Have I kind of fucked something? I think I kind of have. I low-key think that I kind of have. Does this change anything? Well, let me check something really quickly. Bueno, video capture, filters. Is this still? Yes, it is still. Do you see like the difference? This is the normal camera. Look shit. This is with filter. Looks a little bit better. And then I'm also having this one because, yeah, important. Really important. Well, anyway, the whole point of the story is that every single day after I've worked, I took a shit in the whole building. Like there's a whole building, and there's a lot of just offices in there, and also the company that I've been working for. And there was also a toilet, and I was there, and I took a shit, and everything splattered across the whole fucking room. And basically, in the end, the whole toilet was just really fucked and stuff. So yeah, it's not that of a nice thing if you just really are bloated and stuff. And yeah. Coming back to it, when I'm talking about fats, I am talking about the bad fats, which I think are the saturated fats. I never ever just know that. I always tend to forget about that. But I'm gonna eat nuts. I tend to not eat too much of it unless there's actually something laying around. You know, if I'm having something in my room, I'm gonna fucking eat that. You know, when it is something healthy, of course. You know, if it is some chocolate or some shit, I'm not gonna touch that shit. But if it is something like nuts and dates and stuff, like, I'm gonna eat heavy. You know. Quite all of a sudden, because, you know, normally I tend to not snack, and I also try to not do so. But when something is laying around and I'm seeing it, and especially when it is on my desk or some shit, then I'm gonna fucking eat that, which is not good. So maybe also consider this. But I really think about the fat content, you know, that I should be eating, which means that I'm not gonna not eat any fat, because I know I need some fat, especially also for just being able to absorb all the vitamins and stuff. So also keep an eye on that. If I haven't been talking about fruits, I also tend to just not drink. Can't I assume? Or I also try to not eat too many fruits. It's also because of the carbs, and I've seen for my body type, it works, and I'm getting leaner if I don't eat too many carbs. Even though I will just think about that, and I'm also gonna consume some carbs, which is gonna be in the form of fruits and also oats, but we're gonna come to that a little bit later on. And of course, also all the other shit, which is also something I'm gonna get later to as well. Then something else, I think that's it. Well, yeah. So the disclaimer, I don't know shit. Then this is my breakfast. Basically like a little bit of cardboard, even though there's also a little bit of a metal piece there. But no, it's nothing, because I normally fast. Yeah, don't fucking have it. So I don't have breakfast because I tend to fast for kind of just around 16 hours or so. It really depends. You know, sometimes I've also just have fasted for, I think, 22 hours or something. And then afterwards, as I've actually realized it while I was eating something, I thought, well, I could have actually gone for just the 24 hours, because I once thought about doing it, but I think consciously doing it, it's really not that easy. Like just not eating something for 24 hours, unless you've eaten just really a lot the day before, then I think it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, you know. So I do fast for 16 hours or so, sometimes more, sometimes a little tiny bit less, even though since we all are at home. And by the way, I really hope that you're doing fine. I really hope that everything is good at your place and with your family and friends. I am able to just really do it how I like it. When I'm in school, then it's a little bit more difficult, since I'm not eating too much over the day or over the course of the day. So because I would have to just take so much food with me, and in my fucking school bag and shit, and it's actually not that of a nice thing, especially if your school bag isn't that of a big one, which was a problem for me like a year ago or some shit. But yeah, so I fast. I don't have any breakfast, and it works fine for me as well. It might be the case that it's not working for some people on the other side, but for me it is working. I am really happy about that, because I can get up, brush my teeth, take a shit, and then I can start working, which is, at least as I think, kind of the most productive time of the day that I'm having, because everything tends to go down after I've eaten something for lunch and stuff. But yeah, but talking about lunch, which is the more or less most maybe interesting one, if you want so. It's probably going to be something with lentils and or beans, peas, and most often a ton of veggies, even though veggies are also carbs, which is something to think about, even though on the other hand, carbs are definitely not your fucking just enemy. Really not, really not. And this is definitely something that I kind of should and want to point out. Yes, carbs are having some kind of an effect on how much fat you're kind of having. I do not really exactly, I've just looked it up pretty often, but I tend to forget about it because it's not really something that's too important. It's something also, or it somehow also has something to do with what carbs you're eating, but I'm also going to come to that. So I tend to cut down a little bit on them. And most often I will cut down just pretty heavily on fat, because I don't care actually. I really don't. I don't have to eat that many nuts. I'm just gonna eat the fat that I kind of think that I need and I wanna have, and then that's quite gonna be it for that. And something else that I do in my lunch, actually not really. Also eggs. I forgot about that, but we're gonna come to that. And then I found a list of all the beans and legumes that are pretty high in protein, because there's a lot of really, really good stuff. On the very bottom, we have lima beans and navy beans. I thought, by the way, that black beans are way better, but they're only having like 18 grams of protein per 100 grams, as you can see there. It's actually really delayed quite. I'm sorry about that. Hope it's gonna be fine. Then we have the pinto beans, then the split beans, the cranberry beans. Oh, by the way, I didn't see that. What the fuck? The cranberry beans are having 49% on 100 grams, which is 49 grams per 100 grams, which is nearly half of it is protein, which is nuts, which really is nuts. I've actually overseen this or overlooked this, because I thought the soybeans are the best ones with 36 grams. Cranberry beans, wow, really, really a lot. And there as well, the lentils are having some around 18 grams per 100 grams, even though I really do have to point out that it heavily depends on which lentils you're buying, because there's green ones, there's brown ones, there's red ones. I have found a brand, and it's a local brand of mine, so it doesn't care too much. It's green lentils, and it's actually having, I think, 26 grams of protein per 100 gram, which is nuts for lentils, because the other ones are having like 10 grams or 9 grams even, or something else. And it also depends on if they're canned, then they're naturally going to be less protein and also less carbohydrates, so less of everything, also nutrients and vitamins probably, or minerals in the food or in the lentils. But you really have to just have a look at the nutritional facts. Yeah. The nutritional facts, because even though red lentils is not red lentils, there's going to be red lentils with, 15 grams of protein. There's going to be one with 20 grams of protein, which you really have to have a look at. And also with the beans, they are all different as well. So I'm either going to have for my lunch, I'm going to have some sort of lentils most often. Even though you don't, if you're just cooking it in the way that I'm cooking it, then when it comes to red lentils, especially when they're split, then you're not going to have a lot of them. because they tend to dissolve themselves in the water, and it's basically thickening the water, which is a pretty nice thing because we tend to need a lot of water if we just boiling lentils and beans and veggies and stuff as well, which kind of sometimes turns out to just be way too much, which is then pretty fucked up. So they're thickening it a little bit. With green lentils, it's not that of a big deal because they tend to stay solid if you're cooking them, which is also a cool thing because you then have just more of a bite to the whole meal. Then I'm gonna have some beans. As I said, most often I'm gonna have white beans just because this is what we tend to have at home. Even though I think we're also having quite often some kidney. Are they called kidney beans? I think they're not called kidney beans. So the red ones like these there, you can see. And yeah, even though most often I'm gonna have beans that I can't because even though, like, the funny thing is, if you're just buying them quote unquote fresh, you know, so dried beans, especially when it's the white beans, they're having like 24 grams of protein. And let's just imagine that if you're just combining that with per 100 gram, if you're combining this with lentils and all the other stuff that I'm gonna talk about, it's nuts in terms of the protein content of the food that you're gonna have. And yeah, there's also some fat in the beans, which is also good for just the taste and whatnot. And it's also not making it so boring or letting it be not that of a boring thing. But yeah, what I wanted to talk about, the canned beans can sometimes be sugared. So also have a look at this, and also with the lentils, like everything is sugared. I don't just know why, but a lot of stuff is sugared, which is not that of a cool thing. Then peas. Peas are an amazing thing that I've lately found out about. And this is actually also one of the main reasons why I want to make this video, because I don't know, we all just find out some things that are working for us, and we just tend to find new products and stuff. And I just do want to share that. I generally want to share that. So there is, of course, you can buy the fresh ones or the frozen ones, but the protein content is not going to be that high. But if you're having the, I think, dried ones, I guess, even though they look not that similar like these ones, they're also really nuts. I think 26 grams of protein, if I'm not quite wrong, at least more than 20 grams of protein also per 100 grams for these. You know, and when we're combining this with the lentils and with the beans and whatnot, we're having really a lot of protein. And yeah. Which is, by the way, also pretty nice because, like, all these things tend to be a little bit more expensive. Besides the lentils, they are quite okay, but they can be as well. It depends on, like, if they're organic, and it also depends if they're green and or red and stuff like this. So yeah. But also, like, the dried beans, at least in my country, like at least in Austria, they're not that of an cheap thing. So peas, a little bit of a secret of mine, yes. But yeah, peas in general, by the way, there's also peas protein, which is like extracted from the peas. As I just, what is it called? Fuck, I don't know what it's called. Just some whey protein, like just some scoops. You can scoop them into your meal or some shit, which is probably, by the way, a pretty cool thing for if you're making your oats. If you just hit some scoops of protein in there, so that you also just upgrade the protein content of the oats, even though they're also having like 13 grams of protein, if I'm not quite wrong here, per 100 gram, which is something as well. You know, it's not that of a bad thing. But yeah. The next thing that I sometimes have to add is, and by the way, this looks really lit. Like, that motherfucker's hella lit. No, it's really cool. It's a cool photo. I like it. It's basically like an egg if you just don't see it, but without the shell. I don't know if it is a real thing. I don't know if they've been able to just somehow make it like this, or if it is like just computer. It kind of, I actually have to say, like, it looks rendered, so computer generated stuff. But yeah, sometimes if I feel like that that I have used a little bit too much water for cooking the lentils or cooking the beans or whatnot, then I tend to add an egg to it because it kind of thickens everything a little bit, because I don't just want to have a watery stuff, you know. It's more or less, I think, a stew, and it's not a soup, you know. It's just, I think, I'm actually a little bit unsure about that. So I just need some bite, and I want to have some bite, and I just do not want it to just be some soupy shit. So the egg can sometimes be a little bit of a cool thing. Besides the veggies, of course, you know, if you just add a ton of veggies to watery stuff, they're going to absorb that, and it's not going to be that watery. I tend to have a lot of zucchinis and carrots at home, so I'm just most often going to use them, but I also like to have paprika and all the other stuff, like just everything. You can add everything. By the way, beetroots, I think beetroots would be actually pretty nice in this meal. I think they really could be nice. I gotta have to try that out, because naturally they're pretty sweet, and stuff, even though carrots are of course also a little bit of a sweeter thing. But yeah, something that I don't add or try to don't add is olive oil and salt. I don't salt in general since it's not that of a health thing, even though on the flip side, we probably also need some salt. And also completely letting it out and just not using it some whatnot, probably not going to be the best thing, you know? And also with the olive oil, as I said, we need some fat, you know, it's important for health and whatnot. But back in the days, like I've been putting so much olive oil everywhere, like in my oats as well, because I wanted to gain a little bit of weight. But then in the end, it turned out to just, yeah, me being fat, you know, not fat, like just really overweight or stuff, but just seeing, you know, losing the definition that I once had. And I've somehow again gained, which is a cool thing, by the way, because of just not eating too much oil, because it's a lot of fat, and fat is having the most calories per gram if you compare it to just carbs and protein, which is 4 grams versus 9 grams, I guess. Calories, 4 calories versus 9 calories and stuff. So yeah, I also try to not do that, but I truly use a lot of spices, especially paprika, because if it is some, I don't fucking know what it is. If it is grounded, I guess. I think it's grounded. It's called grounded. If you're using grounded paprika, then I just gonna throw in it, you know, in my stewy thing, especially, I'm gonna add a lot of paprika if it is, again, a little bit too watery, because it's, again, making it a little bit thicker and stuff, and it's also tasting pretty fucking good. And it is then, in the end, kind of looking like this. And just besides the fact that this is like chili con carne, and I'm not having any carne, which is meat, by the way, in Italian, in my things most often. But yeah, so besides the egg, it is actually vegan as far as I can tell. And you just can't add the vegan, yeah, of course. You don't have to add the egg. Sometimes it's a nice thing, especially if you want to just up the protein content a little tiny bit. It's not that much, of course. The egg yolk is also fatty, so you might also be thinking about that. And I'm also normally cooking like that. So I'm going to have a really big as fucking pot, similar to this one, maybe a little bit bigger, no. But I tend to just cook relatively huge amounts of meals or food, because first of all, I'm a pretty hungry person. Second of all, it's not that many calories in what I'm just normally cooking. And third of all, I like to just eat it at lunch and as a first meal for dinner. I really liked it, you know, that I'm having something savory. I think it's called savory, isn't it? And if it is just not sweet, but the other thing. Yes, English, top notch English, you know. But yeah, so I normally just tend to have really or relatively big pots because it works out for me. So dinner, which is the next one. By the way, we're 25 minutes in. And there's a little bit to go. Fuck, I've been a little bit too slow today. So normally, as I said, I'm gonna eat just my first meal as some sort of a savory thing. Sometimes if I don't have anything left of lunch, then I'm also just making myself some eggs, even though I try to not eat too many eggs. By the way, I've also written it down there. It's an egg, really big as egg. And there's a guy and he's holding it. What's that of a fucking egg? And why would he have one? Especially, I mean, even if it is like something to play or some shit, then why? But yeah, so I tend to not eat too many eggs, and I try to because, again, I'm a little bit concerned about cholesterol, even though like people say it's not that of a big deal. Anyway, then I'm gonna have my oats. With my oats, I'm normally having an apple, which really depends. I mean, if we don't have any apples, I'm gonna add something else. But yeah. With the apple, which is kind of the basis that I'm most often having, I'm gonna add some other shit that is low on a glycemic index, which just also has something to do with your insulin levels, and therefore, because of that, somehow I also forget about that quite often. It has something to do with gaining fat, storing fat as well, and I think like, yeah, I mean, for example, pineapples are really high with probably 70 or something of a just 0 to 100 scale, whereas the apple is around 20, 23, 24 something, I guess. And oranges are also pretty low. Bananas a little bit higher. Oats are, I think, at 55, which makes them right on the edge to low glycemic food to medium glycemic food. So it's also something that I think about, because why not? You know, which by the way seems also to be one of the reasons why white bread, as you can see here, is also not that good. Because it's kind of, oh my fucking god, it's having like just 100, as well as white rice is having 100 of 100. Even though I'm not quite sure about this, I've just found it as a picture and thought, well, let's use it. Then, by the way, also orange juice. But I just, oh, glycemic index glucose, of course, and bread. Well. Which is nice that they're using nearly the exact same fucking colors, you motherfuckers. But I'm gonna go for the glucose thing because apparently you can just compare it to bread as well. I've only seen it with glucose, as you can see there. Yeah. So I'm sorry, orange juice is, by the way, having, if we go for the real one, around 55, which is, the reason, by the way, why I'm not drinking too many juices, I try to. I most often also don't do that, but I mean, like if it is one glass a month or something, I don't give a shit. But if you're just drinking one huge glass, let's say 0.5 liters of juice, then it's going to be like, I don't know, 20 apples or just 20 oranges or something. I know it's just a huge amount of carbs and a huge amount of calories and a huge amount of sugar and a huge amount of whatever, which is quite unnecessary somehow. You consume way too much. It's like a relative unnatural way. But yeah, is there something else? Snickers bar is actually relatively low, even though, I mean, these are all things that are concerned or said to be not that healthy, even though brown rice, they say, is relatively healthy, but still having one of 65 or 70 actually, which is making it a high glucose, a high GI food. Whereas, by the way, just the only grain that I'm sometimes eating, I also tend to not eat it at the point of time because I tend to forget about it quite, is barley, which is having 25. I know when we compare it to fucking white rice, which is having like 70, it's nuts. It really is. Then, yeah. Then I'm gonna have a little bit of CSI Miami. No, the funny thing is, I don't know if you know that, but in CSI, I think in general, they're always having this crazy ass zoom. Like you can zoom in and everything, and suddenly you see everything detailed and everything is nice. And I don't know, like some shit of this just reminded me of this one, because I can really zoom in and stuff, which is hella lit, by the way. I can show it to you like this, but I could also zoom in and show you everything. It's really nice. But I don't know, I've done this in Keynote. So if you want to have such a presentation as well, you could do that as well. But yeah, and apparently, if you Google CSI Miami, you're also going to find this picture. And yeah, I don't know if I have to say too much, but yeah, he's showing the gun. And yeah, then I'm normally also having some seeds, because apparently if you Google seeds, you're gonna get just a lot of fucking garlic. Yeah. So there's going to be seeds in my muesli or in my oats as well. So we're going to have apple, oats, of course, the seeds, some low glycemic food, even though sometimes I'm also having dates. By the way, motherfucker, I've forgotten about that. I think I gotta have to look it up because I'm having dates in my room. And I've been eating quite a lot of dates recently. And I forgot about the GI index because we're normally having like just quite only low GI food at home, just not because my parents or some shit give a fuck about that, but it's just what it is. Besides the pineapples, we're having a lot of pineapples quite often. But I think the dates, and I'm actually gonna Google it right ahead. Dates, GI. I think they're not too high either, as far as I can tell. Yes, they're pretty fine. Like, especially when it's something natural, organic, not really organic, but natural, like fruits and stuff, they're most often not that high. The varieties of dates tested had a glycemic index of 46 to 55 for healthy subjects and 43 to 53 for type 2 diabetes subjects, making them a low glycemic index foods. Even though, like, they're pretty sweet, and I kind of doubt that a little tiny bit too. Can I please have my... Thank you, motherfucker. So, then I add boiling water to it, which I'm sometimes doing it in a pot because you can then cook it and it's going to be way nicer. And sometimes, especially when you're adding just some oranges and stuff, which really change their taste if you cook them and if they're hot and stuff, then it is a nice thing to not only just pour hot and boiling water just over it and stuff, but to also really cook it. And yeah. And also, especially if you're having like some other shit, some almond milk or something, then it's also really, really good if you cook it and have it warm, because it's also then tasting a little bit tiny different. What I want to show you here is that it is 12:38 this time and it's 44. I don't fucking know. No, but but what I wanted to show you is that this is what you Google snacking. So this is what's gonna come, and this is actually a Wikipedia photo. I tend to not snack. I try to, at least, and unless I'm actually having some dates. I'm not having these dates. By the way, I think 2 days ago or something, it's the first time I've been eating some dates with the, oh fuck, I don't, I don't know what it's called. Like the thing that's inside, which is hard and stuff. I don't know, the nucleus. And if I'm having some nuts, you know. And I wonder where this photo is coming from, by the way, you know. But she's having a lot of fucking nuts, you know. Let's see what she's doing there. Probably just sending some SMS. No, it's actually not. I think it's Googling some shit or having some bullshitty app. Oh, probably. Because there is, I think, some advertisement at the bottom of it. Well, yeah. Anyway, this is what I, by the way, have to say about CSI fucking Miami. Like, just have a look at this one, you know? You don't see shit. But you can zoom in and zoom in and zoom in. And then you see Bushnell, waterproof. Nice, he's having waterproof. What is it called? Binocular or some shit. You know what I mean. You probably know. But this is actually quite it with this one. So I really truly hope that I've been able to just share something with you that somehow is of value. And yeah, I really hope so. It's working. It really is working. I feel super duper good because I'm not eating any unhealthy fucking shit. And besides sometimes the diarrhea and stuff, but I'm just, it is what like for real now, it is what it is sometimes. So yeah, I think I'm gonna end the episode there. So thank you very much for the 32 minutes, but I'm gonna cut it anyway, so it's gonna be a little bit of a short amount of time. But I appreciate that, and I'm hopefully gonna see you the next time. So I'll see you the next time. Yeah. I wish you the best health, happiness, and also success, and I also hope that you're gonna remind yourself and you're gonna be remembered. It basically means your legacy, and basically means just being a nice person and being remembered as a nice person. And yeah, with that being said, the 3 other questions that I have you are: why are you here? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? These 3 questions are hopefully going to show you your purpose and maybe even a business idea. And yeah, with that being said, hopefully going to see you the next time. I really appreciate it. And yeah, thank you from the bottom of my heart. For real now.